what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Josh. This is JDM Right Hand Drive. And in today's video, you guys can see behind me, we have the Perrin Front Mount Intercooler for the VB WRX. If you guys missed the unboxing video, I'll put a tag in the description up above. In today's video, we're gonna pop off the front bumper. We're gonna remove the top mount. Sorry, I've been getting over a cold. I don't know if you guys have kids. I've got a 7-year-old daughter in 1st grade. And it's just a constant issue of her coming home with a different cold and getting us sick. But let's get the top mount intercooler off. Let's get this installed. Let's see how this fits with the front bumper, the crash beam, how it all ties together. We're going to do all the intercooler piping. And I'm going to show you everything you need to know to install this and save yourself some time. So to take the top mount intercooler off, you're going to take these two 12mm bolts off on the bracket here. You're going to remove this bolt right here. And then the two from the throttle body plate. I've got the Perrin charge pipe, a little warm drive hose clamp to remove. I'll put a little overlay video for removing the stock charge pipe if that's what you guys have to help you out with that. And basically these little edges here, if you just pull them up, this thing just pulls right up and pop these off. Take this fan up and out of the way. You have the upper plug, the middle plug, and then there's a lower plug. So this is basically loose, that just pops right off. Now we have a little clip down there that we got to get to. So set that up on top. There we go, guys. Super easy to remove. You guys can see I've got the cob pitch stop installed, so this is like I think the 3rd time I've removed the intercooler. If you guys like this type of content, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. My goal with this car is to have 350 wheel horsepower in like the next week once it's tuned, so let's get this happening, guys. And this guy's massive, and if you guys are looking for a safe way to build power, the front mount intercooler is kind of essential, especially if you're going to do track racing or do like hard pulls with heavy horsepower. The top mount intercooler is small and it's susceptible to heat soak, and heat soak leads to detonation and loss of power. This is going to stay cool because it's going to be right in the front of the car, and we're going to be able to make some good power with it. If you compare just the cubic volume of the intercooler core, the stock one is 312 cubic inches. This Perrin one is 957 cubic inches, so it's 3 times the size. And it's going to be awesome. Let's go ahead and get the front bumper. Got a whole bunch of just plastic pop clips here and some 10mm bolts that hold the front on. And then underneath, guys, there's just a whole bunch of little plastic pop clips. All right, the bottom of the bumper is all completely unclipped. And then coming around to the side in front of the tire and wheel, you have these little push clips here. There we go. Once you get these pop clips removed, just put your fingers behind here and you're going to basically peel up right along the body line. So myself, I was kind of curious how this is going to fit with the front crash beam, and just looking at it, I can already tell that the crash beam is going to have to be removed. It has 2 bolts on each side. We've got 2 on the bottom there, 12mm, 2 up top. Lift it up and then out of the way. All right, so this is looking pretty exposed here now, having that front beam off. And what we're going to go ahead and do, I've already loosened the hose clamp on the front charge pipe, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this. There we go. So what I'm going to do on this front charge pipe, guys, I'm going to go ahead and do a channel giveaway. So in order to win this or have a chance to win it, what I want you guys to do is hit a thumbs up on the video. You need to be a subscriber, and you need to leave me a comment. And as soon as I hit 300 likes on this video, I will pick somebody and I will ship this out to you guys for free, and I'll even throw in some more wall art to show my appreciation for you guys. The Perrin charge pipe will be a giveaway for the US only audience, guys. I'm sorry, but I just can't afford the cost of international shipping. This cost me like 280 bucks or something like that, so it's a pretty good giveaway. And then this is the turbo adapter that goes to the bottom. So I'll make sure I throw that in with the hose clamp and the proper connector that you guys need for the bottom here. So I'll put all this in the box for you guys. I just installed the STI short shifter. If you guys haven't seen that video, if you're curious about it, I did a good comparison between the stock shifter versus the Subaru STI shifter. Link in the description down below for that video. Anyway guys, it's 11:20 p.m. It's a Sunday night. I've already installed the STI short shifter this evening, and I've got the front bumper off, crash beam off, and I'm ready to begin the front mount intercooler installation. I'm going to catch back up with you guys in the morning, and good night. Well, good morning guys. It is now Monday the 8th, and I've got to leave for work in 4 hours, so we're going to get all this intercooler piping put on, get the intercooler on, get everything put back together. So I want to try to retain this plastic piece here that diverts air into the radiator. So I'm going to modify this bottom part depending on how it'll fit with the intercooler core. This might have to be taken off, but I want to at least leave the top and to divert the air through and to block the air coming here from like the bottom of the row that's going to have moisture up into the intake system, and try to also keep this blocked off from the air going through and bringing that moisture up from the wheel well into the intake system there as well. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to move this sensor over here. We're going to put the core up, measure, see how everything's going to be, and then discover whether we have to cut these or modify it, what we got to do. I sent Jeff Perrin a picture, and he's like, oh hey, let me send you over some install pictures. So thank you, Jeff. So this intercooler actually goes on the other way around. So we're gonna flip it over. Okay, so we've got the bracket mounted on the driver's side, and basically you've got the Perrin is gonna face towards the outside of the car, and you've got the little notch that faces inside towards the radiator. You're gonna use the Allen bolts. So you got two on the top with the small washers, which you're gonna mount from behind right up here. And you've got the big one with the big washer down below that goes to the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and remove this bolt so that it gives us a little room to move the headlight. So pop that out. You're gonna also have to remove this harness. I just like to use my needle nose pliers on the backside. My little vice grips give these guys a little pinch. All right, now that that's out of the way, we're gonna attach our bracket. The Perrin's gonna face to the outside. The little pointing is gonna go to the inside towards the radiator. And what I did on the other side that worked good is I just attached the bottom to kind of hold it in place. Make sure when you rotate this up, you wanna do the bracket farthest away, because that's easiest to get to when you don't have another Allen bolt in front of it blocking your hand. You're gonna use a 6mm Allen wrench. If you guys don't have these tools, I'll put links in the description down below for what you'll need to install this. So this is fully mounted nice and solid. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna remove this little pop clip off of here. So this is the retainer clip that I'm using. It's just a little tiny one, and it's just small enough to fit into the opening and let you tighten this thing down, kind of hold it a little bit better. You get this nice zinc bolt that goes through, and then you've got a big huge aluminum spacer. So you're just gonna put your spacer right here on the bracket, slide this through, and that's how this holds on to those brackets we just mounted. Wow, I'm super excited. This looks so aggressive. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sending me over some pictures, because I was actually kind of stuck When I put the intercooler core up the first time, I set it on upside down thinking it went the other way, and I didn't know where these brackets were supposed to go, so thanks for getting me on the right path. The rest of it's all self-explanatory. Run the intercooler piping. We're gonna have to remove these. Got a few bolts. Let's get these off. We'll start rerouting the piping and getting this bad boy back together. This front like air shield or whatever, cooling panel, sits in there just fine, and that's gonna work great. Thank you so much to Perrin Performance for partnering with me and giving me the opportunity to install this and kind of help launch this product to the market with you guys. Thank you so much. It's a dream of mine to work with a company like yours and other companies on my channel to just get the word out there to the community and make good content, and yeah, it's a win-win for everybody, so thanks again. Let's go ahead and remove the bolts here. I'm just using a wobble socket to get a good angle on it. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the washer refill snorkel. You just have a little pop clip here. From the top, kind of give this thing a little bit of a twist, and then that will give you a good angle to kind of help pop it out of there. And you can kind of twist it back the other way. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the filler cap. Went ahead and just cut the excess off the cap since it's not going to be used, but you can just go ahead and take this, shove it down in the hole. So we got 2 more bolts in the back, guys, back there. You guys can reach these back bolts with a wobble socket right from the top by loosening those brackets or the bolts that hold this tank down. That gives us just enough flex to reach a wobble socket back to where that bottom bolt was down there. A shout out to Milwaukee Impact Power Tools. This is my little wobble socket I was using. If you don't have these, I recommend them. I'll put a link in the description down below. But let's get this put back together. Where the front bumper brace was on my car, I had a little bit of exposed metal, and it was actually had light surface rust, so I sanded it down with some Scotch-Brite, put a little rust converter, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of paint and primer over it. So you guys can see how I mounted the horn. It's a little bit different position, but it needed to be moved in order for the intercooler piping to come off the intercooler core and up and around through this area. So I put a 90-degree bend on mine. It's facing forward just like stock, so it should give me the same amount of sound, which is good. And then this side had no rust, so this side looks good. We're gonna make sure we don't damage his seal. Pull this out, and that's our seal. Nice and seated all the way down in there. And as that seats onto the little ridge on the turbo, I'll throw some pictures up for you guys to see as that slips over the little turbo ridge. That's what keeps this from sliding off. Go ahead and slip this over the turbo. You're gonna wanna give it a good push. All right, we'll install it the same way. So once you get it in there we go, just kind of falls in. You're on, I'll go down in there with my cell phone and get you guys a close look. So you guys can see how that fastener just kind of goes down in there. Pretty simple. It's seated all the way onto the turbo. You guys look down in there, you can see. In order for the intercooler piping to come through, we're gonna have to go ahead and remove the Perrin heat shield from the engine bay. So the hose clamp way down there is tightened. I was able to just reach my socket wrench down here, put a 7mm on there, and snug it down. All right guys, day 3 for me on this install. I ended up not getting done in time, having to go to work, didn't get home till after midnight last night. But I wanted to show you guys the hot side completely done. So this is where the charge air comes out of the turbo, And make sure you guys give yourself enough room, because the engine is going under power. It's going to, you know, tilt kind of a little bit in the engine bay. So you want to make sure you have enough room around this radiator hose, as well as all the wires and the wiring harness in the back. So make sure you have enough space. You don't want it to hit against these bolts here. Maybe when you install it too, I'd probably recommend putting like a few layers of tape over this bolt, because I nicked this again when I installed it. I did the same thing on the charge pipe. Kind of irritates me. I put a little black Sharpie on it so you don't notice it, but everything's good to go. Lots of clearance. This is the 2.25 inch piping on the hot side. And then as far as when you guys are installing your silicone couplers, if you guys have never installed couplers and hose clamps before, it needs to go kind of about to that region so you can get a hose clamp on here behind the ridge, and you guys will be good to go. Oh, and this temp sensor, guys, that was down below, we're just going to go ahead and route this right up top, and you guys can see that center hole there. It's going to pop right in there. So the stock intercooler, guys, there's a seal right here. We're going to go ahead and remove this seal, and we're going to install it on the throttle body plate adapter that comes with the Perrin. So let's go ahead and get the bolts off this throttle plate. Some 10mm bolts on the back of this. I'm just going to clean this throttle body plate off with a little bit of silicone grease that I've sprayed on this. All right, I've got a little bit of silicone spray on my finger. We're just going to go ahead and put it around that O-ring seal, make sure it's lubricated. Make sure it slides on nice and even. Allen bolts in. And grab our 90-degree coupler. That's going to slip over this. I'm using a swivel socket to get in here and be able to easily reach this because it's kind of tight. So once we tighten these down, we're done. Okay, so our last one's right up top here, so let's take a peek down here. We're all done, guys. Everything's in. Hot side, cold side, everything's looking good. Everything lines right up. Super easy to install. I like how this is a solid intercooler pipe here, and there's not a huge coupler like some of the other brands have. And I think this is going to be really solid. The nice thing too is these two couplers are actually really long, so that gives you a lot of play and a lot of manipulation to be able to slide the intercooler piping in or out. So you can see there's lots of play. It's got plenty of room to move around. It's not going to touch anything, so I spent a lot of time adjusting. It's got plenty of play around the windshield washer reservoir. Nice little Perrin filler cap there. And then coming up top, you can see we've got about probably about 1/3 of an inch, maybe slightly more. I went ahead and loosened the battery as well to be able to kind of move it a little bit more, to give it a little bit more space, because this was originally kind of a little tighter over here. So you may need to adjust that depending on how your car battery is. And then I just slightly bent this down out of the way very carefully to make sure as this thing's flexing, it's not gonna come in contact with any of the air conditioning lines. This is the moment of truth, guys. Let's do the first startup. So let's let it warm up and then we'll give her some rev. Okay, Julie, go ahead and give it a little gas. Let go. Go. Good, flip it. Same thing, keep going. Do it. Definitely no boost leaks. We are good to go. Let's throw the front bumper on. So I was originally thinking I could get behind the crash beam and cut like this section out and trim this to have it sit over the intercooler, but the other issue is this whole side part is not going to fit around the intercooler because the end tanks are right there and it needs to come into this area. So that's not going to work. We're not going to have a crash beam until an aftermarket one comes out later. And I guess we'll just count on the Perrin Front Mount Intercooler to be our crash beam and absorb the impact. So the last thing I'm going to do before we put the front bumper on is I'm going to cut this center grill part out because I want the front mount intercooler to be more exposed and look aggressive. So we got one more thing we got to do. We got to work with that hood scoop because you guys can see as it comes down, it's going to contact with the piping. I hope you guys liked the video. Stay tuned for more content. I'm gonna figure out a way to get this heat shield mounted and modify it to fit in there. And then we also have the Perrin Turbo Inlet. Personally, me doing this project and filming, it took me about 6 hours. So make sure you guys give yourself a decent amount of time. You don't want to start this late on an evening expecting to have it done in the morning when you got to drive to work. Thank you to Perrin Performance for allowing me the opportunity to kind of debut the Perrin Front Mount Intercooler for the WRX. Thank you so much. And I hope that this video is good for you guys and that you like it. Make sure you guys do a good test drive around your neighborhood. Do a few pulls just to make sure you got all your couplers and your clamps on properly. If you messed up on the installation process, they will pop off under the first couple pulls and you don't want to get stranded on your way to work. The fitment of this system is unreal. If you look at all the little pieces and parts, the way it all comes together, the couplers, the piping, it all fits flawlessly. And even look at the piping into the hood scoop. We had to do a little bit of trimming, but everything is just flawless and spot on. Complete bolt-on system compared to my old 2002 WRX, which had a Blitz front mount intercooler. I had to cut the front bumper beam. I had to cut the front bumper. I had to cut the driver or passenger side fender just to reroute the piping. And then this system is just direct bolt-on plug and play, and you are good to go. Well, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and subscribe. Don't forget, I'm going to be giving away the Perrin charge piping if we hit 300 likes on this video, so you guys don't miss your chance to win. Just leave me a comment down below. And I will have a link down below to the brand new Perrin Front Mount Intercooler system for you guys. Fitment is perfect over here on the side, and don't worry guys, I will be doing a full driving review to show the intercooler temperatures of this big core versus the stock tiny intercooler. So the next thing I'm going to install is the Perrin Turbo Inlet. We're going to do that here in the next few days, and then from there I'm going to take this up to Pacific Import Autos, get it on the dyno, do a pro tune, and it's going to be on 92 octane because I thought there was E85 locally. There is nothing. It's actually just 100 octane race fuel, and at $10 a gallon, that's, you know, that's not affordable to put that in every time. So we'll tune the car on 92 and see what kind of power it can make. So you guys stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care.